Experiencing narcissistic abuse can change your personality inside out, leaving you with debilitating trauma responses that you may misunderstand as strange, crazy, or weird behaviors. For example, after leaving the narcissist, you find yourself anxious and hyper-vigilant all the time, waiting for something bad to happen. Or it's very difficult for you to trust others and you are overly apologetic. All of this may make you feel like you're broken. But what if I told you you're not? These are biologically correct responses that got triggered back then, and now you have to heal them. Let's talk about this further in today's episode. Hi, I am Danish, a psychologist and a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. This episode is all about exploring 5 weird behaviors of narcissistic abuse survivors. If you're eager to know what these behaviors are and why they show up, make sure you subscribe to the channel before we get started, because your subscription may help in spreading awareness about narcissistic abuse. Weird behavior number 1, indecisiveness. You find it extremely hard to make even the simplest of decisions. For example, if you are given 2 choices, 2 things to eat, and you have to choose one, you can't do that because you are constantly panicking, overthinking things, and wondering deep down, what if I choose the wrong thing? What if I'll get punished for making this choice? What if I do not know how to choose? This chronic self-doubt is a sign of the extreme gaslighting that you are a survivor of. The narcissist that you were with convinced you, rather brainwashed you into believing that you do not know how to live your life. You do not know how to make decisions, and they took that power away from you. They made decisions for you, which unfortunately uprooted your capability of being your own person. Furthermore, a trauma survivor's brain is always overwhelmed. The part that is responsible for decision making, which is called prefrontal cortex, is almost turned switched off. And the part where all the survival related processes happen is overly activated. It's like you are processing 1,000,000 bits of information per second by constantly scanning the environment to know if you're safe or not, to know if you need to run or not. But at what cost? At the cost of being able to apply logic, to be able to reasonable, and to use the decision-making power you naturally have. It gets jeopardized. You're not stupid for being indecisive. You're just a trauma survivor who needs to know how to regulate their body, how to calm themselves down, how to stabilize their life, and how to take things one step at a time. And then you'll magically start noticing your brain coming back online and you being able to take major steps to thrive. Number 2, and the most popular one, isolating yourself mostly. Unfortunately, a lot of survivors just choose to not to be social anymore after leaving the narcissistic relationship of 20 years or after going no contact with their narcissistic parents. Why? Well, why would they take a risk of getting abused and being judged, being criticized, being seen as this awkward personality who doesn't fit the societal norms? Why would they be vulnerable again when that vulnerability was heavily taken advantage of by that narcissistic individual? They prefer self-isolation over connection, which to a certain degree keeps them safe, but it also restricts them. They choose the peace that being lonely offers them over the possibility of developing a deep connection that a relationship could reward them with. Which makes sense. As I said, it's all about survival. It is a biologically correct response. It's like you are in a constant state of licking your wounds and you do not want to go out there and be attacked one more time. You're not weird. It's just that you were changed by the experience that you survived. And if it works for you, then it's fine. Number 3, being overly apologetic. Narcissistic abuse survivors even apologize for the things that are beyond their control. For example, weather. It's not sunny today. I'm sorry, it's not sunny, but it's not your fault. The narcissist made you feel everything was your fault. Even how their day went, what happened, and so on, what others did to them, somehow it was linked to your actions, and that is what gave you a guilty conscience. You carry the burden of shame that does not belong to you, and you feel like everything is your responsibility somehow. They did not get a ticket, somehow it was your fault and you should be sorry. It is such a difficult thing to do, to take responsibility for everything regardless of whether it was your mistake or not. Doing so may make you think you're a doormat, and that may lead to extremely low levels of self-esteem and self-worth. But what I would like you to know is that this is a trauma response. We call it fawning. You had to fawn back then, which showed up as being overly apologetic to keep the narcissist's abuse in control. This is a survival mechanism that got activated with the reason, which was to give the narcissist what they wanted from you and survive somehow, stay alive. You are not being a doormat, you're just trying to survive. And that's why you have to heal those core wounds. You have to let go of that guilty conscience and know that the shame you carry is not yours to take care of. Number 4, being hypervigilant all the time. Always expecting something to go wrong. Always feeling like the sky is going to fall any moment. Your brain has developed the tendency of catastrophizing, of preparing for the worst case scenario, which does not make you a negative person. People may say, oh, you're such a negative person, you're such a pessimist. What's wrong with you? Why can't you think positively? Why can't you change your mindset? Well, it's not about having a different mindset. It's a trauma response. When you live with a narcissistic individual, you are under constant attack 24/7. The sky is falling constantly. The pain doesn't stop. This toxic individual does not let you relax and feel safe even for a moment. So that was your painful past learning, which activated this extreme coping mechanism. And that's the reason why you cannot just change your mindset or all of a sudden start thinking positively when you had to survive back then by thinking negatively. You had to prepare for it. You had to foresee it to be able to protect yourself. Now, you're expecting your brain to change all of a sudden and say, oh, shut down that thinking process and shut down that preparation stage. No, it's not going to do that. Number 5, and the last one, the attitude of not giving up. Your resilience. It's not a weird behavior. It's a personality trait that you developed. Back then, you had no resources whatsoever to rely on. You survived because you kept going on. You saw the light at the end of the tunnel when there was none to be seen and you were surrounded by only darkness. There were obstacles in your way, one after the other. The journey was extremely painful. Pain was never ending. It was the only companion that you had. Loneliness was your dear friend. Despite all these struggles, you made it. You made it possible for yourself to survive that narcissistic relationship. What you have been through could have killed you, and this is not an exaggeration. The narcissist destroyed you psychologically. They drove you to the point of total hopelessness, and you could have given up, but you did not. And that is why you are resilient. That is what this not giving up attitude is all about. That's why it's easy for you to persevere. You may keep going on when everybody has given up, when everybody has said, I don't see any hope here. You may say, oh, no, I can and I will. You need to nurture that. You need to acknowledge that you have that quality within you. You have to use those resources to keep going on when healing from such a horrible experience. That was the last one. Before I let you go, which one of these traits did you resonate with the most? Which one of these do you struggle with the most? Drop your answers in the comments and I'll talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.